On my left-hand side, you can see the picture of the Vice Chancellor of the University of Buea, Professor Ngomo Manga, if I'm saying his name right. And on my right-hand side, you can see a picture of the founder of the ICT University, Professor Victor Mbarika. And until recently, I did not know anything about the ICT University. So I had to reach out, to somebody in Yaoundé who understands the landscape. And the information I got from my source is the university is one of the top universities in Cameroon. I was like, wow, interesting. But I've never heard about it. And he went further to, tell me a lot of good things about the university. But he said, however, they have some kind of indirect, relationship with the regime. And I'm like, indirect relationship with the regime. But I did not want to know anything about the indirect relationship with the regime. I wonder why he said they have some form of indirect relationship with the regime. But I had to go do some research myself to really understand what is going on in Cameroon right now. Because if you go, you see social media is buzzing, the dispute between the University of Buea and the ICT University. So I had to do research on the founder to really understand who is Professor Victor Mbarika. And upon doing research, I really understood something. This guy is supposed to be a national treasure in Cameroon. And sometimes, and not even sometimes, a lot of the time, we Cameroonians don't value our own. We prefer to, value someone outside our own country rather than valuing somebody from our country. We're going to get to the whole chaotic environment, but let's start first with Mr. Victor Mbarika. Mind you, I don't know him, and he's somebody I would like to have a conversation with because I want to understand, how he think, how he reason, because it's really important. Because based on what I have observed and I have seen from him, he is a visionary. To me, a visionary is someone who can see further than their eyes can look. There's a difference. Because your eyes can look at a problem, but his foresight, sees the solution of the problem that you're looking at. So I consider him a visionary, and my source also told me that, some of the things you've been talking about, the practical skills, how the youth got to be learning practical skills instead of only theories, the ICT University does that. I was like, wow, man, how come you did not tell me this a long time ago, Because these are some of the things, that makes me excited about the future of Cameroon. Just having that information that, there's an institution that is focusing on practical skills and trying as much as possible to produce people who are going to impact the economy is very, very important. And upon going further to really investigate Mr. Professor, you got to give your respect, Professor Victor Mbarika, I discovered that he was even given an award by the President of the United States, the former President of the United States, Mr. Joe Biden. And I'm like, whoa, the Lifetime Achievement Award, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. I'm like, wow, this guy, this professor is something else. He's someone who we have to cherish. And I went further to really understand, man, that was not all. I went further to understand him further. I'm like, and I got another note saying that he is one of the youngest professors to be endowed in the United States of America. At that point, I was like, oh God. So this guy is valued more in America than in his own country. And he even came back to show his people that, hey, my people, you guys keep thinking of people from America, you think about Americans, you think about Europeans, you hold them at the high pedestal. And you don't think that you can be, branded in the same category with those guys. Cameroonian youths, listen, I have gone there, I have conquered, dominated. I want you guys to use me as a role model and use me as an inspiration to know that you too can do it. That is how I look at Professor, Victor Mbarika. And that is how every Cameroonian should be looking at him. And I went further to do research to find out how old he is. And based on public records, what I could find is he's somewhere around 32 to 33 years old. I don't know if that is accurate, but if that is accurate, that is incredible. That is incredible. He deserves all the praise in the world. This guy don't even need to come out and say anything. Just his accolade should speak for itself. I don't really know him, but that is how great he is. And these are the kind of people who should be ruling Cameroon. These are the kind of people who should be the president of Cameroon. I mean, if the election were to be held today, this guy got my vote. That is how high I think of him, even though I don't even know him on a personal level. So you can't say, oh, no, this guy has paid you to say all these things you're saying. No, I don't know him. But I would like to meet him or like to have a conversation with him because, oh my goodness, he understands some things that some people don't really get. And he understands the Cameroonian landscape, because for you to go to the Cameroonian landscape and open a university and then you're trying to impact the next generation, you have to have, some level of determination, grit, and fighting spirit, understanding the complexities of how Cameroon is. Which leads us now to the topic of discussion, which is the University of Buea and ICT University. So we already know the background story of the founder, who have a lot of achievements and is recognized worldwide. And he's one of the top professors, and a lot of Americans cherish him here. But the people of Cameroon all of a sudden are trying to bring out an agenda to, discredit this guy. And from what I'm getting, some people are trying to say, oh, he's too proud, he's kind of braggadocious. I'm like, what? Man, if I were in his shoes, I'm going to do the same thing. It's not, it's not being proud. It's confidence. Sometimes some people mistake, confidence with pride. There's nothing wrong with, being proud of your achievement. There's nothing wrong with that. But being confident in your ability and your skill set is very, very important. A lot of times we're so timid that even if we're good, we don't want to, say it out loud because we feel like, oh, it might hurt somebody else, the person who have not achieved that level yet. No, instead, encourage him, by his actions. His action even speaks louder than whatever that will ever come out of his mouth. To come back and give to the community, give the community something to hold on to. Hope that your so-called ancestor, ancient of days, Paul Biya Vondo, have been in power forever. And he cannot give that to the people. This guy said, no, let's bring Cameroon to the future. Let's teach them some skill set that will empower the young people of the nation. And they're going to believe that it is possible to make it in Cameroon. Why? Because they have somebody who have done it at the highest level in another man's country, in the United States of America. To some people, to almost everybody, United States is the pedestal. So if it goes, someone have gone there and conquered that nation, you should respect that person. That's my own personal opinion. I don't care who you are, whether you are appointed by a presidential decree or whatever. No, you have to respect that person because it is not easy. That being said, so this communique came out, I think was on the 24th of February, if I'm not mistaken. And It was from the Vice Chancellor of the University of Buea stating that they're not going to recognize or issue PhD, degrees to students of the ICT University from the dated from 2016 to 2023. And I was like, why will they come up with such, a decision, because based on the information I'm getting about the ICT University, it is a force in the nation, a force of goodwill, a force of hope, a force of creativity, based on the information I got. Why will somebody come out with such a decision that will instead try to tamper with the brand of the ICT University? Because remember, in as much as we want to praise the ICT University, we got to understand something. The University of Buea is a brand on its own. It's one of the biggest brands in Cameroon, University of Buea. It has produced some of the most talented people in that nation and internationally. So we have to give Buea its credit. But there are some few people who believe that they're going to rub that institution name in the mud, and we cannot let them do that. That is the first thing, I'm going to say out my opinion, whether you like it or not. I'm going to be clear, because if we are not clear on these things, we're just going to let people like Professor Victor Mbarika leave Cameroon instead. They're going to take their ideas, take whatever initiative they have, and go to another country. And mind you, there are countries who are going to, do everything possible to get someone like that into your country. And then what is Cameroon doing? What is Cameroon doing? We should, be holding this guy and saying, something that we don't know. You've done it at the highest level. What can you tell us that will help us, improve our skill set, improve our level to match that of the United States, increase our standard to get to that level? That is, those are some of the things that we should be getting from someone like that. But you know how Cameroon is. They don't value the youth. They don't value young people. For me, the way I feel is this guy just came to the country, and some people who have been running things all of a sudden feel threatened. They feel threatened. They feel like, oh, how can this young person, who just came from America, come and then he's just getting all this public, hype. And I've been here for a long time. Nobody knows me. And I've done this, that. I got a presidential decree to be at this level. Who is this guy? Who is that guy to come here and try to, be proud and be saying things with confidence? Who gave him that confidence to be braggadocious? No, we have to change this mindset, and we have to hold our own at the highest pedestal. Like I said, I don't really know Professor Mbarika that much, but what I can say is this. It is time for Cameroonians to value their own. It is time for Cameroon to value their own. Remember, America was transformed by Harvard University. And from the look of things, Cameroon might be transformed by the ICT University. That is a big statement. And instead of people to say, oh, you might be onto something here. I'm talking about Professor Mbarika, not me. Oh, Prof, you might be onto something here. So how can we join you in this movement to ensure that we make it a big movement, that will enter several industries and, put our country at the pedestal? So when they're mentioning countries like America, let our country to be mentioned. Why not? You think we cannot invent something that it will be the other countries are going to envy us? We can do it. So we have to use Prof as a role model, which means the politics that is being played by the University of Buea. I don't want to say the University of Buea. I want to say some individuals in the University of Buea should stop. And the fact that they said they're not going to be bullied to giving the degrees out, the pre-PhD degree out, they're not going to be bullied. Nobody's bullying you, Mr. Vice Chancellor. The politics you're playing. And I will not be surprised. I'm not going to be surprised if the Vice Chancellor is a CBDM member. Because this is how CBDM members think. They always find ways to sabotage people. Anything that's going to be of great help to the nation, they find a way to sabotage it and make sure that thing does not succeed. Because all they want is the credit should go back to where the CBDM party and Paul being Vondo Bartolomea. They don't want anybody to shine. They don't want anybody to come up with something if you're not giving the credit back to Paul being Vondo Bartolomea. Because they want him to be the ultimate. But the guy is old and his time has passed. Now is the time for the new generation. And I believe ICT University is doing a great job, to get our country to another level. So we should forget about this inner politics we're doing right now over there in Buea and stop it. Stop it. Find a way to come to an understanding and find an amicable solution to whatever problem that the University of Buea or the few individuals in the University of Buea have with the ICT University. For me, I see this as an opportunity for a great brand like the University of Buea to attach itself with another brand that is coming up, ICT University. Form together, collaborate in partnership to do something special for the Cameroonian people. It's all about collaboration because there are ways and there are programs that they can, work together and make Cameroon a better place. But if they're fighting among themselves, fighting one another, it is not good for us as Cameroonians because that hinders creativity, that hinders progress, that hinders some of the good things that should be coming out from those two institutions. So it is time for us to wake up and join the movement of creativity, which means we have to champion that the two institutions work hand in hand to do great things for our people, to do great things for the country, to do great things for the economy, because it is time for Cameroon, to shine. And anything that is going to put us in the limelight should be appreciated. And anybody who is going to come up with an idea that is going to put us in the limelight, that person should be appreciated, which means Professor Victor Mbarika should be appreciated. He should not be appreciated in another man's country more than he is in his country. It is time for Cameroonians to be patriotic and appreciate their own. Give kudos to their own. Man, it is time for us to wake up, my people. Because if we don't do it, we expect another person to come develop our country. We expect another person to come educate our kids. We expect another person to leave their own country and come do some great things in our country. No, it's not going to happen like that. These little things that we underestimate are things that will build our nation and put us at the highest of levels with a country that we believe that no, we can never be mentioned in the same sentence with those countries. It is a process. So I'm a big fan of the ICT University, and I hope that this whole nonsense chaos will not impact what they're doing. It will not impact the mission, will not impact the vision of the founder. They're going to continue, to educate and impact the future generation of Cameroonian entrepreneur, because I want to believe that they're impacting them not only as professionals, but as entrepreneurs, as people who are going to create things that will help impact the economy, and not people who are going to get those skill set, but all their primary motive is to leave the country and go to another country. Please, let's try to develop that country and learn from the founder of that university, Professor Victor Mbarika. I hope I'm saying his name right. But it is time for the Cameroonian people to appreciate their own. That is how our country is going to move forward. And we're going to get to where we want to get to. So please, my Cameroonian brothers and sisters, let's join forces with the ICT University and make sure that they do everything possible to get our country back to the level where we expect it to be. And the practical skills are very important. And which means there are a lot of things that they want to do that they don't really have the financial, access to do at this point in time. So instead of the infight, we got to be thinking, what are some of the labs? What are some of maybe they want to create an AI lab or AI factory or whatever, to get the students to be more in tune with some of the things that are going on in the West. And they don't have that right now. Instead for us to focus on those things, we're instead focus on, no, we're not going to issue degrees to people who deserve it. What? No. That is not possible. And we should stop that. And like I said, I would like to have a conversation with Professor, Victor Mbarika. No, that's the only person that I've come out to give an open invitation and open stuff like this. Nobody. Because just from the research, I'm like, this guy's onto something and we have to support him any means possible to get the Cameroonian youth to the level where he envisioned, because he has a vision. I want to understand what that vision is and how he thinks and what made him come to that, that decision, to go in Cameroon, a whole jungle, because the Cameroonian political landscape is so messed up that, man, you have to be brave and determined to get into. And, establishing the university, getting top guys, people from like the Polytechnic to come and be, the Vice Chancellor, be professors in the university, get the top dogs in Cameroon institutions to come to your university and, impact the youth. I want to understand like how this guy think, because these are some of the things that will help us improve our country. I'm all about improving Cameroon. I'm all about anything that's going to make Cameroon great. But anything that is going to bring Cameroon down, I'm going to talk about it. That's the truth. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about the good and the bad. And some people don't like me for that, but I still appreciate you though for watching. Anyways, I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you have not done so yet, please like the video. And if you're new to our channel, please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can be the first person to be notified when we drop any future episodes. And to our returning listeners, viewers, and subscribers, I really appreciate you guys for everything you do. Remember, we cannot do it without you. See you in the next episode. And a big shout out to Professor Victor Mbarika, the founder of the ICT University. Thank you, boss, for everything you do. You're impacting our young people to get the skill set that is required for the future of the nation. Thank you very much, sir. See you in the next episode. Au revoir. Bye-bye.